Okay, here we go, Derbyites. We are going to give a Gold Derby Succession 3 roundup. We're going to break down our top moments, best episodes, and where Succession is best positioned to take home awards gold, all leading up to the Emmy Awards later in 2022. I'm joined, Matt Noble, by Joyce Eng, Rob Licuria, and Marcus James Dixon. And look, I'm going to say Boo Souls, yay Succession. It was a great season. Joyce, what was your favorite moment of season 3?
All of it. No, I think when I was watching the first 7 screeners, my favorite moment of those 7 was the imaginary cat.
Yeah.
Is just an incredible ensemble moment as well. That just shows why it should win SAG Ensemble. Never been nominated at SAGs at all, but just the interplay there, and then with Colin carrying out the imaginary cat bag, just perfect cinema on TV. But then in the last 2, I mean, obviously the dick pic, so good. Kieran Culkin's face just melting away, and then the entire finale, so good. And Brian Cox imitating Shiv, I feel like that was a one take thing. It was just perfect. So good. That should just be his Emmy clip.
Yeah.
Rob, what was your top moment of the season, or some of your top moments?
There's so many. So Tom doing a Real Housewives of New Jersey and just flipping the table when he realized he wasn't going to jail. The discussion between Shiv and her mum. I remember actually rewinding it and watching it again, because it was deep. And the mum's basically saying, I shouldn't have been a mum and you're a terrible daughter. And that for me would have been the moment for Sarah Snook. But of course the finale, when Kendall's sitting on the ground on the dusty Italian dirt, and you've got that beautiful geometry of the buildings behind them as his 2 siblings are trying to make him feel better as he is spilling his guts about what happened to the waiter in season 1. I was completely and utterly floored. And whenever I hear people tell me Succession season 3 was a little slow, I firstly want to slap them.
Who says that?
Well, they're wrong.
They're very wrong. To me, it was I wish I could not sound so hyperbolic, but I just can't believe how incredible that show is. It's a 10 out of 10, and that finale just blew me away. And now I can't wait. I wish I had more time, because I want to go back and start it again.
Marcus?
Yeah, you guys said a lot of my favorite scenes, but my number 1 favorite scene has not been mentioned yet. And that was in the second to last episode when Kendall and Logan have dinner, and Logan, has it in the back of his mind that maybe my son's going to poison me. So he gets his grandson to come and eat the food for him, and just the looks that they were giving each other across the table. And Kendall's like, who do you think I am? That scene, I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was so good.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. That was the moment where he's getting the grandson to eat the bit of pasta.
Also the way he just yelled Iverson.
Yeah.
What about great. You, Matt?
I was actually gonna say, like Joyce, the invisible cat scene for me is just, I love comedy and just the absurdity of everything sort of happening at once. And I feel like that was the real crescendo of that frantic and hectic episode at the shareholders meeting. So I was going to say that you guys have covered a whole bunch of other ones. I think the final episode where Tom asks Greg to join him, will he sell his soul? And Greg goes, boo, souls. I just thought it was the funniest.
No one else could have delivered that line except for Ron.
Yeah.
And on that note, he calls him Sporus, which brings back the moment when they're talking about Nero and how Nero threw his wife down the stairs, castrated Sporus, and married him instead. We should have seen it coming, right? We should have also seen it coming when you see the poster. You see Greg and Tom and Logan on one side and the others on the other side. But that reminds me, Matt, you're so right, because this was a very funny season. I laughed so much, more than I would for, I'd say, 90% of comedies on TV at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I always say Succession is the best drama and the best comedy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The running joke of Greg hating Greenpeace, like that was such a good running joke throughout.
He has beef with Greenpeace. Okay.
he's got the so we got, I love also this season we have Greg as the player, really, like we're juggling two girls in Italy.
He's climbing the date ladder, okay?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
when
the
he's
date
speaking,
ladder.
and when he's speaking to the princess or the countess or anything, she says she does like charity work or she don't, and he goes, "It's not Greenpeace, is it?" Like they're bad dudes. So oh no, that was like, yeah, really fantastic. And I do think you're right, like it's such a great comedy, and like, you know, it's such a dark great comedy. So it reminds me a lot of Veep, actually, one of my favorite comedies. In just these dysfunctional, power hungry people that are insulting each other constantly as like madness happens around them. However, like we see in that final episode, and the final two really, but particularly that final one, just how intense it can get. And like at the end, when you get those guys all deciding to go against their father, and you got Kendall breaking down, like I was just so invested and so like gripped. It's amazing how the show could go from sort of fast to intense drama so quickly. Like even while Kendall's having his breakdown, you've still got Roman cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Like it's wild.
Yeah.
The writing is so good. That's why it wins the Emmy, and it probably will again for best.
Oh, that's been locked since like 2020. So it's like Jesse Armstrong is just going to keep winning.
Like, don't you think it'll just be? It reminds you of like when The West Wing really became a force, when Sopranos, other shows, more recent ones, when they just Mad Men, they just cover the field. Like I think this will get like the most of the like even like Handmaid's Tale last year, like it'll get writing, directing, it'll get a lot of acting nominations at the Emmys. Like I think almost the entire cast. It really does remind me of what happened to The West Wing. There was that 1 or 2 years where almost the entire cast was nominated.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of writing, I don't know if maybe Joyce knows this, but they were only nominated for one episode both seasons. Did they only?
They only like they're strategic about it. They don't oversubmit like some other shows do. So they only submit one episode, and it's always by Jesse. So and he always does the finale, and he won for the first two finale, so I'm assuming he'll just submit the season 3 finale. He's 3 for 3 with finales on the show, so
it's also a smart strategy. If
like you don't vote split, so they submit more for directing. So
if they only submit one for writing again, and it's Jesse Armstrong, he did write 4 episodes. He wrote Secession and Mass in the Time of War, as well as She and All the Bells Say. The first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes of the season.
And we had one fewer episode this season too.
Yes, we only had 9 episodes this season. Do we all just agree that final episode is the one for him to submit?
Yeah.
I guess so. Personally, I liked the 8th one better, but
nice.
But I wouldn't say it's so much better that he should not submit the finale. I mean, if he has such luck submitting finales, he should keep doing it.
Yeah, I think so too. All the Bells Say is like, I would say probably the best episode of the show to date, and so that makes sense. But Chianti Shi, the 8th episode, is also really good too, and it's a Sophie's choice.
It's really a 2-parter. I mean, it's really like a 2-hour episode because it's both take place in Italy. They're both directed by Mark Mylod. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Mylod. Yeah.
It's basically a movie.
It's a 9-hour movie. It should be eligible at the Oscars. So.
Is is there another episode people would like to see submitted for writing? Like with the Emmy rules, like only Jesse Armstrong's only allowed to submit one, so we definitely won't have Kardashian and All the Bells Say nominated or submitted. They'll have to pick there, and they'll probably go for All the Bells Say just because of how well it's written, but also just the buzz around that episode and how much attention that final got. Is there another episode people would like to see submitted for writing?
That's a good
I would say probably the sixth one, What It Takes by Bo Tracy, who also wrote Turnhaven and won the WGA for Turnhaven. I really like that episode, even though that was, you know, sort of like what you would say a filler episode, since it was, you know, away from the main storyline and they went to Virginia for that Republican convention. But I thought it was really well done, and it has probably what should be Matthew McFadden's tape of all the diner scenes. And then when he rejects Kendall, saying like, you know, I've never seen Logan get fucked once. So
that's right.
I really liked the episode Too Much Birthday, and that's a good title.
It's such a good title.
The parenting dares.
What an amazing episode. Yeah.
It's such a Kendall title too. Like if you said someone's going to have too much birthday, who would it be? You go, well, Kendall is definitely going to have too much birthday.
It's such a good Kendall episode too. Like we really get into his psyche in that one.
I mean, that should probably be Jeremy Strong's tape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be. Although, I mean, the last
or
one,
the finale.
One,
he has a lot of choices.
It's so ridiculous because like the birthday is too much, and it's so like narcissistic, but it's also, you can see that this is really where he starts to descend into complete and utter depression and anxiety and angst. And there's the scene where, you know, because there's all these big like TV screens with him on it, like looking like James Bond, and that scene where Greg like punches him in the dick and then does it on his
just like judging.
I love it.
I also think like it was great. I think this is a real season for Kendall, like sort of just like so much confidence in Kendall, yet so scared at the same time, so insecure at the same time, where, you know, we see him earlier in the season, the comedy show, the talk show that he wants to go on because he wants to show he's in on the joke and all that sort of stuff. And then it just gets to the point of going on for his interview and he just pulls the plug on it. And the same with the birthday, with the, you know, he's going to go up on the cross and sing a song and all that sort of stuff. And just when that's about, not going to do it. Like he just gets overwhelmed by the moment. Just like, you know, he's all talk, Kendall, and like often finds it very hard to pull the trigger this season. After pulling the trigger in such a big way at the end of season 2. So I thought that was a really great character.
You know what? That episode was directed by Lorene Scafaria, who directed Hustlers, and she's Bo Burnham's wife. And I think they might actually submit her. Mark Mylod will get the finale as usual. Andre Perec will probably get What It Takes. He won last year, right? For surprisingly.
Yeah, for Hunting.
That's right, which I didn't see coming, and then some people did. And then Lorene Scafaria, I think they could probably submit her for Too Much Birthday. The directing in that, you have to remember, this is a COVID-safe world, and they did that in the pandemic with all that noise and all those different sets, completely out of the usual wheelhouse for Succession. That is a directorial achievement in itself.
Hundreds of extras too.
Yeah, really, really well done. The sound in that is very well done. It's just, that's one of the, that's a really good one.
Yeah. I would agree. I think it was Matt that said that's probably going to be, Joyce, that's probably Jeremy Strong's episode. But I don't know if he's going to win. I really think this is Brian Cox's season overall.
You think? Wow.
I know I'm alone in this, but I'm fine being alone. But he really was the over the top type of actor that we've seen the Emmys reward in the past. And Jeremy Strong was more subdued and internal. So, and Jeremy just won last time he was up. So I think it's Brian's time.
Boy, well, yeah, and like, look, the end of season 2, we had the big sort of Jeremy Strong pulled out the big win at the end. Is Brian Cox got the upper hand at the end of season 3? Will that like voters a good omen for Emmy voters as well? The winner of the season is the winner at the Emmys. We'll find out. Rob, who do you think should win, like between Jeremy Strong and Brian Cox?
That's a very good question. I think obviously I'm going to be happy for either of them. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Brian Cox as well. I think Marcus is right. This is really Brian's season. Like, in I think it's the retired janitors in Idaho, that episode where they're at the annual shareholder meeting where he has that kind of urinary tract infection and then it makes him kind of crazy, like the Mad King, and then in King Lear, and then by the end he has the upper hand and he says, I win. I just think like that could be enough. I think that's a very good point. I might be thinking about putting him in first when I start thinking about Emmys. But Kendall, Jeremy Strong as Kendall, that character just floors me. You can see how deeply Jeremy Strong works on the internal anxiety of that character, and at the end when he's telling his siblings that he basically killed a person, I haven't seen acting like that in a very long time. I think he owned it. So I'd say both, really. I think that's going to be how we're going to be discussing this for months to come. I'm actually more fascinated about all the other actors because I just think I'm really desperate to hear what you all think about who's going to get nominated and for what. But anyway, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah.
How many discussions are we going to have about vote splitting? I mean, let's not do that today.
I never believed they would vote split last time, like last year, because I just felt like the show had blown up so much, and then they went from 0 acting nominations for the first season to 9 for the second season, and I was just like, Jeremy is winning, and I didn't feel like they would vote split because I felt like he and Brian would be top 2 no matter what, and then the other nominees like wouldn't be able to catch up to them, so they would like either one of them would win. It was just picking one of them. And I like, in my ideal world, I would like Brian to win now so they each have an Emmy for this show, and then if it goes for 5 seasons, which I think it should, I don't think it should go any more than that. It's only been renewed for 4 so far, but I guess like I don't want Brian to end this show without having won an Emmy for it. So I think like Jeremy is very deserving of another Emmy for this season, and he has so much material, and Kendall is more sympathetic, I guess you could say, than Logan is. Especially like towards the end of the season. So I would say Jeremy is winning right now, and I think he's like predicted to win like Critics' Choice and SAG right now as well. But my ideal scenario is like they each win like through season 3, and then they could just split the rest. So we don't have to worry about them like, or Brian not winning for the show.
Yeah. Look, I find it very hard to split them both this year. I think like it's almost like they're both consistently so good, and it's a bit less like of a sort of like, but like this tape versus that tape or anything like that. But what episode should each of them submit to Emmy voters? If you get nominated for an Emmy, you get to submit episodes. What do you guys think?
I think Brian should submit the finale. Just like that last scene in that room, that was like 5 minutes long. And really Shakespearean stuff from him. And like he's funny and he's menacing, like he really runs the gamut in that scene. And the other thing I think about Brian is that even when he has like little screen time, like in Too Much Birthday, like he's only in like the first act, and then he's not at the birthday party, but like he looms so large over the show. And even in like the 5th episode when he's like struck down by a UTI and he's kind of like off screen, like sleeping or whatever, like he's always the one being talked about and like catered to, and like everyone's trying to please him. So And then I actually think the fourth episode would be a good submission for him, in that it's the complete opposite energy of Hunting last time with Born the Floor, because the fourth one is the one with Adrian Brody. And then that's like when he and Kendall have those like interminable long silences in his house and like at the table. And then he's trying to convince like Adrian Brody that he can trust Kendall, like he's good, you can like trust him so they don't like lose his share and stuff. And it's more quiet and a subdued performance, like not your usual like yelling Logan, but it's really affecting as well. I don't think he'll submit that. Like I think he'll probably go with the finale.
I loved that fourth episode. That's one of my favorites. And he had a lot of screen time in that. I just wonder, his character comes off as weak in that episode. He has the bout with exhaustion, he almost dies. Whereas in the finale, his character basically wins the family civil war. And so he looks very strong. So I wonder if—
But then like, are you sympathetic because he's like trying to like impress Adrian Brody and that he won't like ask for a water?
Yeah, that's funny. I think he'll go with the finale though.
Yeah, I think that's without a doubt. He'll go to the finale.
Do we think the finale over? Like, I loved Brian Cox in that second last episode, the penultimate episode, where he's having that confrontation with Kendall over the past. I just think that's so good. But you guys might be right. The final might be the right one to go with.
Yeah. I'm actually more curious. I'm really curious to see what you think about Tom, because he had so much to do this season, and I really think at this point I'm going with episode 8, Chianti Shy, because it's where the penny starts to drop, and you could see it in his eyes when Shiv's doing dirty talk but telling him that she doesn't really love him and she's too good for him. I just blown away. I'm blown away by him. I just think that he could win supporting actor this year, although it's going to be very tough between him and Kieran Culkin. What do you guys think of that?
I think like Matthew was the MVP of the season. Like that whole arc, like obviously now in hindsight we just see like all the pieces being laid out, but even without knowing how the season ended up, just the prison arc itself was so incredible for him, and Matthew just played it perfectly with the pathos and like the fear, and also like his like own desire to still like cling on to this family to make sure he's not cut off, and trying to like impregnate Shiv and everything. But yeah, like that 8th episode, like his face after she tells him like she doesn't love him, and then it like hits him, and then he still goes in for the kiss. Like just like brutal stuff. And then the walk the next morning, oh God. But yeah, I think that would be good. I still like the 6th episode for him with like all the diner talk, because that when he says like you have to eradicate hope, like the scene with Greg, I thought that was really good. And I feel like that, like I think in almost like any other show, like when he comes back to the hotel after talking to Kendall and he sees like all the other like Republicans like partying with Greg, and like you can see like in Tom's mind that he's like, Greg will be fine, and I just agree to like take the hit for him, when I go to prison, like I'm screwed, like I should just go like kill myself. And I feel like in another show like they might have done that.
Matthew was very good this season, but Kieran Culkin he's so hot right now. I mean, SNL could have asked anyone to host from Succession, and they went with Kieran Culkin, and he really had a good season. I mean, it wasn't as dramatic as some of the other characters. I mean, he's mostly a kind of a silly, over the top character, but he is my personal favorite. And like Joyce mentioned, the dick pic scene is something that people are going to be talking about for a very long time.
He finished strong, because I think early in the season it was just kind of the usual like Roman jester and then like weird thing with like Jerry vibe,
Right.
But the last 3 episodes, starting with like Too Much Birthday, like he just a lot of good material for Kieran. And then also in the finale, all his faces in the car too, when he's still like vacillating between like jumping on board with the plan to take down their dad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, with the dick pic, the scene at the boardroom table when he realizes what he's done and his eyes start to water up, he freezes. Like there's so much that he's doing, and we've all been there. Not with the dick pics, but with like sending an email to the wrong person, or saying something that you shouldn't have said, or telling someone that they weren't supposed to know. I felt that visceral like feeling when just watching him. I just thought that's a masterclass of acting. Every time he opens his mouth throughout the whole season, he says something really funny and cutting. He's got the best one-liners in his delivery. And then of course, as Joyce mentioned, in the car, I forgot about that, where he's vacillating between staying with his siblings or supporting his dad, and even the Jerry stuff. And also he actually starts to take charge a bit, and he's like his dad's favored son because he's doing deals with Gojo, and wow, he had a lot to do. He and Matthew McFadden were the MVPs in terms of the supporting cast. We haven't even talked about Sarah Snook yet. Like,
and in the finale when Kendall's confessing about killing someone, and Roman is actually, being a good brother for once and saying
he's trying. These people are not in touch with their emotions, and he was trying.
He was trying, and it actually worked. I started thinking, oh well, maybe he didn't kill him because Roman said he didn't.
It's like, you sound like a hero. I wouldn't even try to find him. Like, I would have left him for dead. Like, no, I think this, like, all season long, people have been saying whether sort of Kieran Culkin or Matthew McFadden is the sort of front runner in supporting actor. And all season long, I felt like it's Matthew's to lose. I really felt like he, as Tom, has just been such like the best performance of the season. And that episode, I think he would have to submit what it takes. Like, it's just such a great, and I think in the old system where people got mailed the DVD screeners, they were voting in less categories, I think he'd still be the front runner. But boy, Kieran really knocked it out of the park, particularly in that last episode. That's what if I was Kieran, I'd be submitting for sure. You got the sort of funny but endearing scene with Kendall with the breakdown. You've got the car trip that you guys have already talked about. You've got like, just, you can see as he's realized that he's, for the first time, gone out on a limb against his dad, and it's sort of backfired and it's irreversible. And just, you see it's like, it's just shattering. And like, just when he looks to his dad, like, and he's like, it's like, oh, what's your next plan? He goes, what about love? Like, like, just like a desperate man pleading to his dad to sort of fall on the mercy of love, and knowing that it's sort of futile. Like, it's just one of the most tragic. So just the look on his face at the end of the season.
And then like begging Jerry for help, and she's like, nope.
Yeah.
She's done. Yeah. She's looking after her interests.
Yeah.
With classic the women Jerry on the cast, with Shiv, Chianti Shire episode 8 has to be the one. That's where she has a conversation with her mother, her horrible mum. Yeah. She has that dirty talk with Tom. And she also has the talk with Jerry after the dick pic, where she's trying to be like HR all of a sudden, but also just trying to say to Jerry, I've got you now in my grasp, and so you better be careful. There's so much going on. The only thing we miss out is in the finale when I can't even, like, when Tom walks in at the end and she realizes Tom's completely screwed her, not in a good way. And she's hugging him, and it just ends with her face and those eyes. My God, it's incredible.
That is an Emmy-winning stare.
Yeah,
I wanted 30 more seconds. I'm like, no, don't end it now. I think she's the front runner to win. It'd be surprising if she didn't win. But J. Smith Cameron, come on. Oh. How great was she? She'll definitely get nominated this year.
Yeah, especially without, like, as far as I'm aware, Handmaid's Tale and Crown next year, which take up a lot of supporting actress slots. So there should be some openings, and she'll take. I agree. Sarah Snook was fantastic in that episode. And it's great that that's the one she should submit, Rob, because she was also really good in Too Much Birthday, where she has a bit of a breakdown on the dance floor.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like
Seinfeld.
yeah, yeah. Very much so. What should Cameron Smith submit? What would Gary's episode?
I think she should do Keontae Shire just for that last conversation with Shiv and the way she just turned into like lawyer Jerry. She's like, I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah.
Like this is a vault right here.
Oh, that's a good point. She turns into lawyer Jerry because Jerry can be soft around the edges and we like her, and she's like a maternal figure sometimes because the mum is awful, and Logan's other wife, played by Hyama Basu, was barely in the season, is not a maternal at all. So yeah, it's a good point. But then Jerry just snaps into lawyer mode, and she really actually meets Shiv and kind of almost, I think, even wins over Shiv, which is
oh yeah, she definitely does. Like
yeah,
Shiv was just trying. Shiv was like feeling like how Kendall was feeling in the beginning of the season, just like like Roman screwed himself, and I'm just gonna like take advantage of this, and she flopped.
Sarah
she's
Snook,
also. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say Sarah Snook had a great season. Shiv did not.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
A lot of L's for Shiv.
Yeah.
Is the debate over about whether Sarah is lead or supporting? Because last year at the Critics' Choice, she got nominated in lead. Yeah. So she is the actress.
I think that was also before they decided to switch her to supporting for the Emmys, though, because they submitted her in lead for season 1 of the Emmys.
Yeah. She could totally get in. Either way, she would get in. I don't know if she could win lead, but she could win supporting. So I'm sure they're thinking about that.
Yeah, it would certainly help J. Smith Cameron, who could also submit What It Takes, which is the no, it's not that one. Sorry, the Retired Janitors of Idaho, the Republican.
Oh yeah,
that one, and also the shareholder meetings.
Shareholder meetings.
Oh my
shareholder meetings, retired janitors, and What It Takes is the Republican.
Retired janitors. She just mentions when Hugo comes and says like he thinks there's a cat underneath his chair, and she actually like bends down to look to see if there's a cat.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. I do think Sarah Snook is in a great position. I don't think she could win lead, but she would support it. She does give as powerful as she is, it is a somewhat nuanced and not as loud a performance as some of the other ones on Succession. And we have seen some of those sort of types of performances come undone at the Emmys in particular in the past. Just like I wouldn't be overconfident in Sarah Snook, but she had a great season and she's in a great position.
And the best thing for her is that The Crown aired last year, so she doesn't have to go against Gillian Anderson. That would be quite a race.
Yeah.
Oof, that would have been hell.
She needs to face Julia Garner again.
I know, right? And Julia Garner's a force. In fact, I've been meaning to catch Ozark. Those screeners just hit our accounts. But you know what? Also, I hope Alan Ruck is not ignored. He always seems to be ignored. He is wonderful in this show. And in the finale, I think it's the finale or the second last episode, where he makes it very clear to Kendall, I am the eldest son. And he really, really lets him have it. And then he's got the whole wedding stuff. He's a funnier character. But I don't sleep on Alan Ruck, guys. Not you guys, the Academy. Please nominate him. He deserves it.
I think he's getting in, which would mean there's going to be 4, because we kind of skipped over Nicholas Braun, but he's definitely getting in. We've got to talk about Alan Ruck would be number 4. And there have been shows that have gotten 4 supportings in before. So it's very
West Wing.
powerful.
West Wing did it in season 3, I believe.
I mean, like Handmaid's just did it in supporting actors.
Right.
But
with Alan Ruck, like I think that speaks really to how amazing that final episode was and how it served all the actors so well, because we focused so much on like the whole big sort of ending of it all with Tom and Shiv and Rome, but that was also, I'm pretty sure it was the final, Rob, that had those great Alan Ruck scenes you were talking about, and like so everyone was, and that would, like, I think even if someone else was submitting it, that would have to be Alan Ruck's tape. I just don't know what else he would
Yeah,
submit
it's
from
a
that
good take
season.
for him. I guess his other good episodes are maybe What It Takes at the convention.
Oh yeah, because
Oh,
he's one of the contenders for
Yeah, he's
president.
one of the and
And he has
then
almost 1% in the polling.
Yeah.
So come on,
Yeah.
guys.
and Greg says like, please don't make Connor president.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's in Too Much Birthday, but his whole thing is just like he's not taking off his jacket.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like
I
a
wanted to rip
Seinfeld
that damn
plot.
jacket off him. Why do you just take it off? My God.
Did he
Your
have
brother
a
wants to-
stain or something? Like he just
I know.
got some sauce on him. I've got to keep the jacket on all
It's
party.
just so random. It's typical of their writers.
so-
like that's the power struggle that he wants to fight with his brother, his younger brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Rob, you said you want to talk about Nicholas Braun. We haven't talked about cousin Greg. Far
We
be it
need
from
to.
us to forget cousin Greg.
how
I think
dare we?
that's
Like,
been a
Taurus.
mistake for a lot of people on
Like
Succession.
who predicted
is
him
like-
last time?
Yeah. It's been
But he is
yeah.
astoundingly good in this show.
he's so good.
Mhm.
Every single thing he does and he says is so like pointed, but also really imbecilic at times. I just don't know what he's going through in his head, this amazing actor, to try to make Greg so complicated. I don't know what episode I would choose. There's too many. I need your help because I think he's actually so good in everything, usually in the background with a couple of one-liners. But is there an episode that really focuses on him? Perhaps maybe the last one because he's got the date ladder. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
the one I had a question mark next to. I'm the least sure about him.
I feel like he doesn't have like he has like moments in every episode, but nothing really like substantial or like a big like Emmy clip like Alan Ruck did in the finale. I'm trying to think.
Is it
I really enjoyed the fourth episode when he goes to see Logan about the joint defense agreement and he asks for rum and coke, but I really enjoy that for Logan yelling, Carrie, can we get Greg a Coca-Cola? And the way he says Coca-Cola.
I love that scene.
Is it some of the stuff early in the season where he's tossing up with which lawyers to go through and he's at a bit of a like crossroads there, like how to I just can't remember what like
I like his scenes with James Cromwell. Those are always good. Those were like the second episode maybe.
The second, and I think he's in the fifth. The fifth has, because before the shareholders meeting he meets with him and Pew, his lawyer. That's when the whole Greenpeace thing starts.
So it's like I don't think this is the year for Nicholas Braun to win an Emmy just because of Matthew McFadden and Kieran Culkin just knocking it out of the park so much. But I hope by the time Succession is done, cousin Greg has an Emmy.
They need to do, the West Wing thing of rotating with their season. And we already lost 2 seasons because they didn't nominate any of them for season 1, and then they lost last time. So
and we need a Lost thing where like each episode focuses on one of the supportings. I want a Jerry episode. I want a Greg episode where they're like in almost every scene.
My greater hope is the end of Succession. Cousin Greg is running the company, so we'll we'll see.
He's moving to the bottom of the top now. So.
He's bottom of the top, like he's sort of pacing himself quite well. You don't want to peak too early in a show like this.
No.
What about guest actors from this season? I feel like in the guest actress category, you've got Harriet Walter plays like I think she could win. I think that scene in Kantshire is really strong, and I just we've talked about it a bit already, but just the way they contrasted that scene with the scene with you had Shiv and her mum with Kendall and his dad pretty much back to back in the episode, and just well, I would say contrast, but there's actually more parallels probably than difference in that scene of this cold sort of fractured relationship. Like I hope Jesse Armstrong's didn't have too tough a childhood growing up with these like parental relationships that we're seeing play out on the show. But yeah, I think that's a Emmy winning scene. And she lost for season 2 to Sherry Jones from Succession, didn't she? So,
Yeah, that's right.
I think Harriet's gonna win. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that's a really good scene. And then it also, she also like provides you like information and like illuminates like Logan's character when she's like, he just kicks you while you're down to see if you just come back, like everything kicks him. And that's true. Like we see that with like his kids, and then that's also what spurred Shiv to try to prove her mom that like she's wrong. Like I will be a mom, like I will have kids. And then she tells her husband she doesn't love him.
Yeah, I love the writing in that scene, the onion scene where they're both like, "You're my onion." No, you're my onion.
Yeah,
I like that.
What about but on the male side of things, you've got like it's a real like mess for Succession in terms of contenders. You've got Adrian Brody, Justin Kirk, James Cromwell, who got nominated last time, and and Alexander Skarsgård, Emmy winner.
That's a done deal. That's a done deal. He was in 3 episodes, right?
Yeah, the last 3.
The last one was probably his best because he got to go, mano a mano with Brian Cox. As soon as we open our prediction center for that category, I'm putting Alexander at number 1.
Really? I'm also like I want him to be a regular next season since Go.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
He's so nonchalant and like stoner, typical, and like really Swedish, and yet he's also just a killer, and that's what Logan responds to. Because
you could see them immediately bond when like Logan and Roman get off the boat, and then Logan and Lucas Matson, his character, are just talking about like how everything is boring. Like you just see that, like it's like, yeah, you get it. Everything is boring to these rich people.
Yeah. But I don't think he's in front. Marcus, I totally agree that you're probably smart to put him in front. I just think Adrian Brody is so phenomenal in that episode, Lion in the Meadow. And Cromwell could make it into, and Justin Kirk's pretty good as the like fascist, whatever the hell, Nazi Republican, just basically Republican. Just kidding. Candidate in that episode as well. There's 4 of them there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're all like and like we saw like what Claire Foy win for the Crown this past season. A very short scene, very very short, understated performance. So wouldn't count out Cromwell. Who
I love James Cromwell,
the overdue sort of candidate and just someone that's beloved. But yeah, I do wonder if Justin Kirk's just going to come in and take the category by just such a flashy 1 episode performance that sort of ticks some political commentary boxes. Like
they don't like
that scene in the bathroom with Roman was really well done. Roman makes his best deals in the bathroom, so
yeah.
The Emmy voters don't like these 1 episode guest arcs. They like the supporting people that are going down into guests.
That's fair.
There's especially in the past 5 or 6 years, there's so little examples of someone just coming in for 1 episode, unless you're on SNL or Cat Williams, I think, did it on Atlanta. But otherwise, they like when your character is kind of fleshed out, and I think that's why Skarsgård has a leg up on all those other guys.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Are there any other acting contenders anyone wants to dip into that we've sort of?
I think so. I was thinking that too.
I think it was
Hope Davis. She's good.
Oh yeah, I forgot about her.
She could get in.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I forgot about her.
How many episodes was she in? I wasn't even keeping track.
2.
I feel like it was 2 or 3.
2. Yeah.
I love her character. How like she's the one.
I just love the Sandys. It's
and
like
she's pretending like her dad's in charge, but it's really her.
I guess she would have to do retired janitors because she had the most screen time in the negotiation.
Yeah, and when Shiv says, I do what my father says, or something, like there was some cutting little comment, because those 2 women are very similar, and they kind of hit it off in the next time we see Hope Davis's character, where they kind of have a bit of understanding that, yeah, I get you. That's what I got out of the character. I think that's why she was there. And they even look similar. Like,
Yeah.
so I think,
what about Sana Lathan? How many episodes was she in?
I
I think she was only in 3, but then she had like a voice cameo in one when like she was talking to Kendall on the phone.
Yeah. I don't think she does enough, but yeah, she's still, I think she'll still be on the ballot if she qualifies. That voice cameo could be a problem for her. But
she started out strong. Like the season kind of hinted there would be a feud because she's friends with Shiv. And then she ended up working for the enemy Kendall, but then they never really picked up on that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of love how they just kind of quietly like kill the investigation like it's over. Cause like that is like truthful to reality in that like these people are so loaded and so rich, like they can and have so much access and connections, they can make something like this DOJ investigation go away. You know, like I did like that it didn't become this like all out war between the two sides. Like they were doing all this other things. Like it's like the show is always about the character dynamics and the relationships, and you know, especially between like Logan and his kids, like that is a very abusive relationship, and you see how damaged these people are, and like a puppy, like they keep coming back to him. So I like that they didn't spend like too much time with that investigation, and then it was just kind of like, oh, Kendall's papers didn't have enough to them, so like it's done, and then you just pay a fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go, Rob. Go. No.
There's also some really great peripheral characters that wouldn't be nominated, but are surely worthwhile having a quick conversation. That's people like Justine Lupe, who plays Willa, who was just grappling with whether or not to say yes to Connor. And then there's also David Rasky, who plays Carl Mueller.
Oh my God, Carl and Frank.
Yeah, the Carl and Frank show. Like, love those two guys. Fisher Stevens plays Hugo, who's like the Parks and Cruises guy. He's always got a really good one-liner, or he's always just treated like dirt, and he's still there, like, you know, making sure he gets his piece of the pie. But then what interests me is if this gets a Succession ensemble cast nomination at the SAG Awards, would Dagmara Domenchik be nominated, given that she's in the titles every episode? And I think she probably had 2 scenes the whole season. Like, she barely does anything. She plays the head of PR, Carolina. Great actress. She's in The Lost Daughter as well, the Maggie Gyllenhaal film. But she did nothing this season, and yet she has. Who does her contracts? I'd like to meet them and get them to do my legal.
Well, it's kind of like Rob Yang in season 2. He was only in Balter, but he was in the credits the entire season. I think she was in the premiere. Was she in the second episode? I don't know, but she was in the Retired Janitors.
Yes.
Yeah, was that her last episode? I think so.
I think so. And so she couldn't go guest, right, because she's in the titles. Is that
at the Emmys? You can. It's only based on episode count.
So she could. That would be smart of her to do that. But she doesn't really do a lot. But she's always in the background. I mean, because she's the head of PR, but she doesn't get to say a lot. And I want to see more of her. I think she's really, really good.
And then a former regular who is now a guest star, Hayam Abbas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I just checked. She's only in 4, so she is eligible.
She needs to do. Is it the? And it's not the premiere, is it? No. But when it's the second episode when she negotiates. For her piece of the pie.
Yeah, because she was in the final 2 episodes, but just hardly. They shipped her off to Italy for a nice vacation. And
I mean, like, I would like that.
On screen for a few seconds.
And who's the actress who plays Logan's assistant and probably mistress? I can't.
Oh, Zoe Winters.
Yeah,
she's good.
She,
yeah, like.
Wow. I mean, she had a pretty prominent role.
So are they actually?
I don't know.
It's not been confirmed. I think.
Is he eating maca root? Is that what you're asking?
I wasn't sure what you were doing with that.
I don't want to do anything more phallic than this. Are they doing this?
I mean, they did put that like scene in the finale when they're on the boat to like Skarsgård's place, and you know, you have Logan asking Roman like good looking woman or whatever, right? Like he makes a remark to Roman about how she looks great.
And all of the kids assume that they're just having sex, and Logan is apparently freezing his sperm or eating walnuts to make himself.
Yeah.
Drinking like maca root too. Yeah.
It could be a big misdirect. It could be a different woman that he's
Well, you
trying
know what? As Roman says, that baby will be born old. So what do you guys think they should submit for a series? Because I think they should do the premiere and then the last 5 episodes.
Yeah, why not?
Like starting with retired janitors through the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would have gone Line in the Meadow all the way down. That's but I mean, all of them, they're all amazing.
Yeah, you could see them doing the first 2 and the last 2 because they're the Jesse Armstrong, Mark Mylod episodes, and then just picking 2 in between, which like retired janitors and Too Much Birthday. But I agree with you, Joyce. I think probably just submitting the last sort of 4. What do you say? No, the last 5. No, the last 5, and then the first 1 is probably like that's probably what I'd do.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the premiere wasn't like the best episode of the season, but I think if anyone is not caught up, I don't know why they're not caught up, but anyway, if you're not caught up, I think that's a good like entry point just to catch you up on everything, to like lay the groundwork, and then everything from like 5 on, you just like follow if they even watch the tapes. So
that's right.
For me, aside from the final, Retired Janitors of Idaho is my favorite episode of the season. I just love those.
It's such a good battle episode.
I love those. Like, it's sort of like we're at a shareholders meeting and we're just there for that, and it just gets crazy and just.
Also, they have been talking about the shareholders meeting since season 2.
Yeah. So I just love that. Now that episodes I love do not always get submitted for Emmys and things. Like, I know my favorite episode of The Crown a couple of years ago didn't really get submitted for many of the stuff, but I hope that one pops in at a couple of places, because for me, aside from the finale, it was my favorite.
I just love the name of the episode, Retired Janitors of Idaho. Like, oh my God, it's so cutting.
Which is a Roman line, I believe. Was it a Roman line? Yeah.
I think so. But episode 3 as well, like, let's not forget, because we seem to skip over those. The episode 3 is where the FBI raids the offices, and after the episode, I remember getting like texts from family and friends saying, Jesus, that was a killer episode. And now it's just been overtaken by everything else, but the disruption is also a really good one, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was in their 6th list as well.
And
that also had the rape me concert.
Yes, that's and
right. Shiv writes the letter, and then
and she spits in his notebook.
Kendall goes on the talk show, but chickens out at the last second.
That one. I think also just talking about episodes and things like that, I imagine a lot of the tech categories at the Emmys, the finale will sort of maybe be submitted, and we'll see that pop up. But I do it last season, got nominated but didn't win for production design. And I do think like Too Much Birthday would be a great production design sort of submission for the show. Just though the tree house they built and the crucifix off like stage and all that sort of stuff's really cool. They've won editing last time as well. That was sort of one of their sort of awards, and I do think that they got 2 nominations last time in the editing category too. So I don't know, maybe
probably I guess they'll do the finale and then one other episode.
What do we think is Succession's biggest competition for just drama series, like the main category?
I didn't even remember what's eligible.
Squid Game.
Some of the shows that got nominated at the Critics' Choice Awards we can look at as like maybe a precursor. There's Evil, For All Mankind, The Good Fight, Pose, but Pose is over, Squid Game, This Is Us, and Yellow Jackets. That's a new one to watch out for.
Yeah.
Yellow
Jacket. A Yellow Jacket could, like, that's sort of so fresh at the moment. We'll like see how much steam and momentum that show has, but that's definitely good. I think it will lose.
Showtime needs a comeback. It's been a while.
I think this is their comeback, but Squid Game is most likely its biggest competition. But Evil as well. I just really started getting into Evil about 2 months ago, and now I'm completely obsessed with that show. The Good Fight, just there's a blind spot from the Academy for The Good Fight.
Is there anything that hasn't come out yet, like I don't know when is the final season of Better Call Saul landing?
It's
Is
supposed
that-
to be in the spring, I think. Well,
Yeah.
Ozark is obviously coming back.
And Ozark, I think Ozark will
There you
be
go.
if
Killing
that is a great
Eve.
Killing
Maybe,
Eve.
yeah. But For All Mankind has really started to hit its stride. Season 2 is just like is phenomenal, and I think now that the critics are behind the show, that could actually maybe make an impact at the Emmys. So there's that one too.
The final season of This Is Us premieres in January.
I can't wait. I love that show so much.
Stranger Things, will that be out in time for?
I don't think so. I think
No,
they said
okay.
summer, so it's going to be like 4 years. since the
Yeah,
final.
okay, great, fantastic. So
well, yeah, like the morning show. I'm just thinking of like what it was
Oh,
up
the morning
against
show.
last
That
night.
I loved that season. I thought that was brilliant.
oh
So that
really?
should be in there.
Yeah,
there's
and
a
then This
lot.
Is Us is last season.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Ozark is a good one though. I forgot.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a race between Squid Game, Succession, and Ozark, maybe.
Yeah,
And Yellow Jackets, maybe.
maybe. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty much right. But I think Succession is just in another league. Look, let me just say this. I know you're all going to roll your eyes. Outlander is also premiering in March, but that won't be. That won't do anything at the Emmys. But
Hey,
it's,
Katrina could, parlay
so.
all of this Oscar conversation into her first ever Emmy nomination. It's possible.
Okay, guys, does Succession win the SAG Ensemble Award for season 3? And does it win the Best Drama Series Emmy? It for season 2, it won Best Drama Series. It is a returning champ. What do you guys think? If you had to say right now, of those 2 awards, does it win both? Does it win one of them?
yes and
What-
yes.
Okay, yes and yes to Rob. Joyce?
I have it winning both right now, but I would say it's safer for the Emmy than for SAG, just because SAG has never nominated them before, and it's the most populist group, and I could just see Squid Game winning, like how Stranger Things won,
That's a good
because it was
point.
popular.
I think I do have Squid Game winning, but I will probably switch that to Succession for the SAG Award.
For the SAG, yeah. Mhm. What about drama series at the Emmys? If you had to say right now, Mark.
Right now, I would say Succession. I mean, we're riding high for the finale. It was just a few days ago, so that is what everyone is talking about. But will we still be talking about it in 6 months?
Well,
see.
I mean, for season 2, it ended in October 2019,
Okay.
and it didn't air at all in 2020, and it won. So
Yeah, I am thinking Squid Games might win the SAG Ensemble, because just I think there's a lot of buzz around that cast, and it'd be a really refreshing cast to win. And also you just look at SAG and you see some, when you look at the different ensembles that have won, it's sort of been everything from sort of, I don't know, The Sopranos to CSI, took out that award.
it's just become really populist since the AFTRA merger. So it's not very I guess also there's just a lot more shows now, but it's not very aligned with Emmys, I guess.
But I just think it's so the Emmys, it won last time, it knocked it out of the park with an as good, if not better, season 3. I just think that, and it's the kind of show I think that has high Emmy appeal. It's easy to say after it's won Best Drama Series, but and Emmys do repeat themselves in that category. I'd much rather back something that's just won recently than something that's a bit more of an unknown quantity at the Emmys. So I think at this point, I'm fairly confident Succession's in the driver's seat for the.
And it
Emmy
also didn't
drama
get a
series.
chance to defend it this year, so it's not even consecutive.
And the winner of this year will not be coming back to go against it next year. So it will be the sort of reigning champ. It's that we won't have that sort of, oh boy, this show won 2 years ago but wasn't eligible, and last year
see a scenario where The Crown and Succession just keep switching off Best Drama Series for 4 years.
They're just avoiding each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Very, very good. Oh, any final thoughts from anyone?
No, I think we've said it all.
I don't know. Season 4.
Hurry up.
Any predictions for season 4?
No idea.
No, I just like I don't know. This show, like I don't care. Like I'm not gonna try to guess what genius things Jesse
No.
Armstrong comes up with.
Yeah. I'm most curious to see whether like we've seen an alliance for like a season-long alliance formed for Shiv, Roman, and Kendall, and they're really going to be at war against their father, Tom and Greg. It's like the two teams of three going against each other. Or if you're going to see maybe like, you know, after how devastating, like maybe do recrimination started, like Roman and Shiv and Kendall are more upset at each other and blaming each other for how things went down. I'm really interested to see if that grows them closer or further apart, what happened at the end of last season.
More
So
Jerry.
I've been
Jerry.
talking to like several people about this, but like, do you want season 4 to like just pick up immediately where season 3 left off, kind of like how the season started off the back of season 2, or do you want a time jump? I've talked to several people who prefer a time jump.
I think I want a time jump because right now, are they still living in 2019? Like what year are these?
It's 2020 because in What It Takes, they said that the election is 6 months away.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
time
you go.
jump.
Time moves very slowly in their world.
Yeah. Oh boy. That's so good. Well, guys, it's so great to break down Succession season 3. I hope we'll get to maybe do a few more of these on other shows throughout the course of sort of in the lead up to the Emmys, which is still like, I don't know, 10 months away or something like that. I don't know, like how about 10 months away. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching. You go to goldderby.com to make your awards predictions and join the feisty discussion in our forums.